Status. So I didn't commit anything for the bugs for 1.10.3. What I see 2 commits, maybe, yes, from the triage and so triage, 4 database commits when redirecting in workflow. So if you're using the redirect activity and you use it and there were some changes before the redirect, we need to call require new, which will commit the current transaction and the changes. Otherwise it will be cancelled because the redirect activity will cancel the current transaction. By a new contributor from epitomy.com. Log error when recipient email message recipients is null. So in this case, it could be null and it would fail. So now there's a test instead, and now it's checked also. So 2 little changes on the dev branch. 110x. Reminder, we'll ship a 1.10.3 very soon. We just need to fix 2 bugs, which are important. What else? So let's sit on 110x. Orchard 2. Chantier fixed the README with the documentation how to try Orchard.Core. This is me, which I will show you. Update on dotnet-watch branch, update on content management branch, Nick doing stuff. But he'll do a PR, so we'll see what he's doing. Updatable branch from Jean-Thierry about versionable content items. This I will show. This I fixed, and this is from Antoine, adding remote publishing support for the media files, which is very nice. And this I don't like. This is not really nice. Why do you need that? You don't need that. You don't need that. Even you don't need that. You should remove it. You can use lists without media. Even if you have features for media in your module, they will be enabled only if the media module is enabled, but you don't require the media module to be enabled for lists to work. That's a very important distinction. Okay? And I'll see that later. Questions on the status? More people joined. Sergio joined. So status done. Demos, I have one. I will show you queries and liquid, the progress. Demos, Nick, you want to show something, or did you say next time?
Yeah, next time.
Sergio, do you want to show something? Okay. And topics, we'll see. So demos, let me show you. I hope it works. So this is an update on the queries module that I showed last week and maybe the week before too. but now it's beginning to be ready to use. So let's see if I can have, what is that? Okay, if I can have that, and I will hit play. So this is the liquid branch, so we merge the queries module. What is that? So we merge the queries module, and the liquid branch is rebased on that master. So I will show you the queries and the liquid. And I already something set up. So this is the blog recipe. Well, you can't see anything yet. I'm just announcing. Okay, this is the blog recipe. I made 3 blog posts. So the original one, this is a new blog post, and a more recent blog. Okay, with some tags inside the title just to ensure that encoding is working correctly. And I have a widget here which is called the recent blog posts widget, which shows the last 3 blog posts. Okay, and I have only 3. That's a very bad test, but at least it's like this, and ordered by recent created date. That's it. I also have a /liquid page, which is a liquid page thing with also some liquid stuff. And again, just to test the B. So what is it? If I go in the admin, and I go to design side, I have 2 things for Lucene, from the Lucene module, Lucene indices and Lucene queries. This is the Lucene module. This is not the queries module. This is a Lucene module. The Lucene module lets me create indices and define what's inside, and reset the index, rebuild it, and query it. If I go on query, it actually goes on this Lucene queries with the index already pre-selected. But if I go on Lucene queries, I can select which index I want. Okay, this is just a shortcut to querying Lucene on a specific index. And then we have 2 things. Compared to last time, it was not the case. Now we have 2 things: the template and the parameters. The template is the Lucene query template. And as an example, you can just click on this thing, which will search all documents in this index. So if I click there, it will call back this page, the same page, with a default template, okay, and no parameters. And you can see the result. So here I have 5 documents that are returned from the Lucene query. And you can see that this one doesn't have a column. There's a discrepancy. Interesting. I will have to fix that. And first thing which is nice is that you can see the property names of the documents, the content which is stored. There are more fields, but these ones are stored, so you can actually see the content and see what is inside. So they are just content items here. And for instance, you can see the content type: blog post, liquid page, or widget, stuff like this. And this query just queries everything. And this, so as a reminder, this is the Elasticsearch format. So any request, a query that works with Elasticsearch should work with it. There are some limitations, but it's just that everything is not yet implemented. But otherwise, you click on this link and you can see how to build queries like match all query. This is exactly what I just used. Okay, it's that. If you want a full text query with a match query, this is something like this: the field name and the value. And okay, so you can look at it and it will work exactly the same. Okay, so that's good, just as a reminder. And I have an example. Let's say I want to create a query that will fetch the blog posts. Okay, which is what I have. I will take this thing. And here, so query on the term content type. So term query is a match. It's not full text, it's an actual match. So I want the content type to be blog post. Okay, and I want to sort. So the query is that, and then the sort order is on the field created UTC. And I don't want the default, which is ascending. I want descending. So I pass an order descending. Otherwise, you can just say sort colon and the field like this. Okay, and size just to return three items. So if I query that, I get 3 blog posts ordered by the created UTC date. Okay, and if I just want 2 of them, I get 2 here. So this is a playground to do some loose inquiries, to see what it looks like, to test your queries, and also to define parameters. So the nice thing with that is this thing is a template actually. So you can say size, and here put a size. This is the mustache syntax, because it's using mustache, like Elasticsearch is doing by chance, because we also use mustache for tokens. That's good. This is the .NET version of the mustache. And so if I pass size 1 query, I get 1 item. So you can create query templates, and templates can be as simple as I just want to pass a parameter, or you can even say you want sorting or not. Let's see that. So you can include a part of your JSON document with templating. So I have an example here. You can do something like this. So you could say that slash other type. I will repeat. So other type will be like sort. Okay. Sort. So if sort is defined, so this pound sort will just say if there is a property sort, then inject that. Otherwise, don't inject that. Okay. So if I query, it should not be sorted. It's a very bad example. Let me remove size 3. It will be sorted by something else, like here it's man, then this and a. And if I place a sort property, any of it, sort often, then it should be, is it? Let's see if I change that. So a more recent, this is, yes, this is sorted. A more recent, this is a new blog post, man must explore. I query, now I have man must explore, this is a new blog post, a more recent. And if I remove sort, query, I'm not sure. That's a very bad. Maybe I should do it with the size. If there is a size, it will use size. And actually, I think we need to put this because the context changes and size is this now. So if I remove that and query, there is a size, so I get 3. Well, if I query, there is a size, so I get 1. And if I remove size, I get 3. Okay, all of them. So just an example, and these things can be the existence of the property, but it can be conditions, like if size greater than 3, then this is it, or a boolean or whatever you want. Okay, it's mustache language, so you can do stuff like this and use also variables and what we want. So the goal is that we can reuse the query, the single query, with parameters like sorting and paging, because this will be most of the time what we want to do, or maybe terms like you could say blog post end liquid page only if a boolean is defined, like with liquid page. Okay, so it's up to us. Questions on that so far?
So Liquid is going to run off your query, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So that gets around the tenant issues that we were talking about previously.
So so this is okay, and well, we'll see how complex the queries can be, but they should be quite permissive here. Parameters, good. So that's just a playground. Now, so this is a playground for Lucene queries. Now there is something which is the queries module, which lets you store queries and reuse them and name them. So here I already have a query that I created, which is based on a Lucene query. To extend that, we create some query source, and I have a Lucene query source, which will let you create new Lucene queries. You see here, available query types, which will be source one, whatever. Lucene query is a Lucene query. And when you say add, you get into something like this. This editor is provided by the Lucene module, because the Lucene module registers a Lucene query source and the editor for this item using the display manager that I showed you last week. So this is just this is driven by a part. So you can even extend the Lucene query module by providing your own part if you want. Drivers.
On the Lucene query module, should we not have a button that says create query?
Yes. Yes, I agree. This is the first thing you want to do, because when you are in the playground, you have played with your query, you are like, okay, I want to reuse that. Create a query. So you want to go to the editor and say save. Yes, I agree.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because these are different editors. This one doesn't show the result for us. It's just to edit the query and to name it. So I agree. So this one, you give it a name. Here, recent blog post. You give it the index you want to query. There is a property which is return content items, because by default in the playground, you see you get the Lucene documents directly. It's just the documents which are in the index. And that can be very useful already if you just want to get the display text and something which is stored, but you don't care about loading the content item as a whole. You can just say, no, I just want the document. I don't want to do another query to database to get the content item. But in most cases, you will want to return the related content items. So you just check that, and this query will return the content items instead of the documents, and you will see how we use it in the result. Because a query returns a list, an object, and it depends on the query to return whatever it wants, because it could be an aggregate, it could be a count, it could be a complex object, it could be anything. So you have to know what you're returning when you use a query. So here, this is a query I used in the playground. You see query blog post for the content type, sort by created UTC descending, and size 3. That's my query, and I don't use parameters, but I could use a parameter, okay? But right now, I'm not. I'm just saying 3. And I save the query. I will cancel, and I can also run it directly from here. So this is the opposite of what you wanted, Nick, and I agree with you. This goes to the editor, so you can query again to test your query. Okay, this is the opposite. So that's it. And now, so this is a recent blog post. And what you can do is go to create a liquid page or a widget. Let me show you the widget I have in the layers. Layers. I created a liquid widget by doing add widget liquid. And I got one which is the recent blog post. And the liquid widget has a title, has a layer, has all widgets, and a body, the body of the liquid template. And here, and I assume Bertrand will be happy because this is exactly what you wanted, for post in queries. So queries is an object provided by the queries module that will let you reference any named queries. Here, recent blog posts. And this will execute the recent blog post query. And for every post will be a content item, because I said that this query returns content item, and because it's a content item, I can access the .content, .title part, .title. Okay, and I can't preview weirdly, but I can save it, and you saw the result on the front end. On any page now, I have this widget, recent blog post, which shows the titles from the title part. Okay, I also added some helpers just as a test to see if we could provide some nice filters, and it works. So I can do something like pipe, so the post piped to display text. Okay, so I'll publish. And if I go there, this should do exactly the same thing. This does exactly the same thing, okay? But just to show you that it's easier than calling the title part. You can also say display text and display URL. So if I do an h4 inside a href equals display URL. Okay. Publish. This is a link now. And I can click. It works. So this is much simpler. What you could have in O1, I would say. That and something I was playing with is that now everything in Liquid is HTML encoded. This is why you see the B here, so it's correctly HTML encoded. And if you want to do some raw stuff, so not HTML encode it like this one. I don't know why, but if you don't want to HTML encode it, you can do pipe raw. Okay, like you will do HTML.raw. It will work. Okay, I was just playing with it yesterday just to be sure that it was secure there. So what I haven't implemented yet also is a way to pass parameters to queries, and this is why I was playing with filter, because actually maybe I'm not sure I want to do it this way, queries and blog post, but I'm trying to see if we can do something like size 3 pipe recent blog post. I'm not sure about the format yet. This thing I've seen in Shopify, which is using Liquid also, but maybe it's something, no, in Jekyll, but maybe it's something specific to Jekyll. I haven't seen it anywhere else. Or maybe it will be something like with a JSON document encoded.
What about like parameter, kind of instead of square brackets, you just do round brackets?
No, you can't.
You can't do round brackets size colon 3.
No. No, you can't. This is the only format that you can do, and it's actually calling the indexer of this property, so it's object specific inside. So that's why I'm playing with something like this. I'm trying that, or maybe it will be a format like size 3, sort true pipe, because this is much easier to do. I'm playing with possibilities right now, but we will be able to do that. And okay, so you see the idea. You can customize logic inside a template, and if you want, also you can customize logic inside the query.
It'd be nice if you could hover over the queries.recent blog posts text, and it would show you what parameters were available.
Too hard.
I know, right? But it does sound awesome.
Because the query itself doesn't expose the list of parameters. It's cool, but then it will be up to you to say which parameters you accept and types, and now it's much too hard for the benefits.
Okay. Sure.
So, but that's the idea. I think we already have a good state of possibilities. Who is in the meeting? And
yeah, the other one might be a drag and drop. You know, like how shape tracing, you can drag and drop. Can you drag and drop? But no, in shape tracing, you know the field. You've got like a list of fields that you can add into a particular thing. It would be quite nice if you could do something similar.
Okay, let me see the questions. There are some questions. So this is Nick. Maintenance. That is good. Bye complex operation module. It's complex. This one is also complex. It's just not UA.
Yeah, but the setup is nowhere near as complex as projection.
It's more permissive, and as Bertrand will say, there is no cliff between you can do stuff easily and then you have to create a module. Here, there are much more possibilities with the UI itself.
Well, with projections, you have to create a layout, and then you had to.
Yeah. You know. But the main issue is limitations, because you can do simple things, but you can't do complex things, and this is what we want to avoid: not being able to do complex things if you want to be able to do complex things. and like do SQL queries and everything. And now it's extensible. You want a simple language? Fine, create your simple language query source, and we can do that. So that's good, I think. You can even have a custom UI to create with buttons and drag and drops your queries. That's fine, as long as it returns a query object that you can run. That's totally doable. Totally. So PHP-like capability, but don't write and clean. Also, these queries from any Razor view or shape template, you can resolve iQuery source or iQuery manager and just run a named query, the same thing as I did in the Liquid page. So from any view, you can reuse the queries. So you can still have the queries in the admin and create your views calling those. Okay. So if you have a Razor page, a Razor template, shape template, you can still do that. Oh, I haven't showed you the best thing, actually, sorry. Do you plan to provide access to content items pointed from a content picker field for taxonomy? Oh my God, what is that? Content item pointed from a content picker field, okay, or a taxonomy picker field using an expression. So you will want to limit, so you create a field and you will limit the list of values based on a query. Why not? I mean, it's a reusable component. We could have some custom fields for sure that will know about queries, that could return the list of content items from a query. It's totally doable. You just expose either the query name in your field settings or a query. A query name will be better. This way it can be from any query type. So you can, you could do that. Expose it will not be a content picker field. It will not be a taxonomy picker field. It will be a query picker field. And then you will expose only the content items that return from this query to be picked up. That totally makes sense. Query picker field, that's what you want. Do it, Sergio. I could see how you could pipe an item into a shape, post types of shape. Yes. So the next step is that content item, you pipe it to not some shape, but to display. Display, so it will look like this. It will be post, pipe, display as a verb, colon, summary for the display type. Okay. This you can do with 2 lines of code. And this is what I think also. Does it make sense? Because pipe to a shape type doesn't make sense. But display to summary or to detail, or display if we just want to say display detail because this is a default, that will totally work. What module is that in? It's in Orchard.Core, and it's the queries module and the Lucid module. I mean, yes, when you call display, that's a display type. And then it will resolve the correct shape to render. But what you mean is different. What you mean is not display the content I'm using a display type, like we will have to render the content dash the post type dot summary. You say you want to execute okay, this is different. What you want is to render a shape, okay, by its name, like shape foo render, but you want to be able to pass a view model directly. So you want to pass the post as the view model. So it will be post, render shape, and for instance, the shape name foo. This will also work. And I assume your example was that. And we can do exactly both of them. Totally, yeah. It's kind of weird to have a template which, well, no, it's not one, because, no, that's fine. Fine. Yep, that will totally work. So here, limiting to data and resulting content item. Yeah, we'll have to see that a content item itself contains all its parts, but if your content item wants to load other content items, we might want to provide some helpers to do that, or some queries which will run that, or subqueries to preload stuff. I'm not sure. So right now, this is a 2-step. The example I showed you is 2-step. The first step is So when I do recent blog post, internally the Lucene query will do one query to the search engine to get the the documents, and then a single SQL query to get all the content items. Okay, unless they are in cache, and then it will be in memory. Also something, design, site, Lucene queries. If I, let me go from queries, content queries, and I will say run. And you can see that there is a time which was taken to run the query. So the first time it was slowish, like a few milliseconds. Now it's 0.3 milliseconds. Okay, this is super fast. This is my local machine. Fine, I have an SSD. This is a search index, but this should be the perf you have on your system. This is faster than Orchard.One because it's done better in Orchard.Core. This is something we could arrange in Orchard.One actually for Lucene queries, because in Orchard.One we are recreating the index search object every query, and actually it should be cached and it's thread safe, so shared across all requests. And this is what I'm doing now with Orchard.Core, so it's much faster. You see, less than 1 millisecond to run the query. And I will show you something. This is a Lucene query, and I will go to the queries module. This is recent blog post, and in theory, if I open Postman, yes, I must have it in my history of Postman request. I don't like this example. This should be something like API queries, something like this. I will check it's a get. Let's see if a get works. So it didn't work. Let me check the code to see what I did. So in the queries module, we have, crap, what is it doing? And now it's startup. We have API queries name. API queries name, that's good. So maybe I got a 4.1, let me see. API query name, so this is, I just need to check if it's a post or a get. I think both. It's accepting both. So the issue is that I must have not enabled the permission. So because I assume I'm anonymous from Postman. So if I go to where are the users? Security users. Oh, roles. Anonymous. Queries. Oh. Where is it? It says it's fine, but it doesn't show me. Oh, it's there. Why is it not going to the result? Do you find the queries? I can't find them.
Select somewhere else on the page and then type in queries.
Oh
can you use the search box at the top right hand corner?
That's what I'm using. Next.
No, scroll up to the top.
No, it doesn't work. This one doesn't work.
Oh, all right, never mind.
Then. Oh, it works. Okay, I made it. Okay, good. But I can't find him. Orchard content preview, Lucene, modules, roles, users, themes. Maybe it's hidden actually. Somehow it's hidden. Oh, I'm stupid. I won't do it from Postman. I will do it because it's a get. I can do it there from here. I have one here which I will take. This is from the Lucene module. From the Lucene module, there is an API where you can define the index name and the query you want to run. So you can send any Lucene query and it doesn't work. But if I do it for the queries module, queries / recent blog posts, boom, JSON. Okay, it works. And this is super fast, actually. I don't see it, but it's like 1-2 milliseconds, less than 1 millisecond. It's very fast. And I run on release, not debugging. I run a perf test, and I could get 10,000 queries per second like this to return the blog post. So that's good. So 2 things. This lets you, if you have enabled the permission on the role, okay. For instance, the anonymous role, if you want anyone to be able to run this recent blog post, you can use API queries for a named query, and you can also pass parameters, okay, like this. Or there is another API in the Lucene module, which is, oh, I know, this is not query, this is either content, correct, content, which will give you the content item, the content items that match this Lucene query. So it can be anything. In this case, it's all blog post. But if you want all liquid page, okay, this is a base. No, not even basic. It's a JSON, the JSON document in the URL. Okay, and you can see here I have the documents, and the other one must be, I don't know, content docs or something like this. I don't remember, to return the Lucene documents directly, not the content items. Again, if you just want what's in Lucene and you don't care about the content items themselves. Lucene controllers, API controller, there is content and there is documents. And then you get just the JSON document, which is faster. If you have the data that you already indexed and stored in your document, then you have it. You see, you have the display text, created date, type, so it can be also pretty useful. Yep. So that's the new APIs, and I think that's great because you can write SPA applications, and if you allowed your application to run any query, then it from the client you can run the query you want. It's the Lucene Elasticsearch language, or you can expose just the named queries you want to your clients, and you call them by name. And then it's the queries module, not the Lucene module. Good? So I will delete that. And what did I miss? Okay.
I think it's awesome we've got a query API. I think we need to probably expose the creating content as well at some point.
That will be Elasticsearch. If we expose the create also content, yes, we'll do that for sure. We could, but that's what actually Elasticsearch does. You can send a document and you just store it and define the indices, and it will index that and then query that. So yeah, but sure, we will have the content API to create content too. I think the most usage, the main usage is to read the content, because you're supposed to edit your content from the app for editors. But yeah, why not?
Well, yeah, but that's just the use case that we've always been associated with.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. Another thing is, well, I want to say APIs. Crap. APIs. Yes. No. What we need also is new query languages. So I created the Elasticsearch one, but we definitely need the SQL one. So you can, because the disadvantage with Lucene is that there is a delay, which I will fix very soon, because there will be no delay at all. But there is an indexing delay, or you could lose your index, try to rebuild it, or change your indices, and so it's stale data. It can be stale data. Okay, so there is a disadvantage. The advantage is that you can do full text query. So for lots of scenarios, full text is very interesting. So you can do that. What is that? share link. But yes, most people will also want SQL because all their data will be in SQL, and you might also have access to more things than just content items, unless you also index more things than content items. But with a SQL, you have access to the tables. That will be better. So we need that. And also maybe simple languages for just content items using SQL, but like I did with the Liquid 2 weeks ago, just saying the content type, some simple filters, simple order and paging, and done. You don't need more sometimes. And it's faster and easier to type if you have a DSL for that. So we might want to create more languages, and it's open. Anyone can create custom languages. Something also we can allow now is GraphQL. So people have mentioned that by the past on Orchard.Core or even Orchard 1. And I looked at it. When I looked at all the languages we could use, and I decided to use Elasticsearch, I looked at GraphQL, and I realized something. GraphQL is not what I thought it was. It's not a query language like SQL, like Elasticsearch. It's a language to expose the other languages or the results from other languages, and to massage the results from these queries. So it's a way to reformat a result, not to express how to query something. For instance, there is no expression in a GraphQL. You can't say foo less than, or created UTC less than something. Okay, you can't do that. There is no such thing as expressions in GraphQL. So it's not to query to filter things. It's to reformat or to limit what you want to load from the data sets, and to also organize data sets. Like you could do a GraphQL query which will launch a Lucene query and a SQL query, mix them both, and then return just a subset of the properties, or transform the subset of the properties. And this is what Sergio is mentioning here, where he wants to have custom DTOs, for instance. Okay, so GraphQL could be a module that would be a proxy to the queries to limit what you want to get, to optimize the client exchanges between the client and the server. So now that's possible, actually, I think. Yep. Nope. No, too much buzzwords here. So that's it about queries. Templates, Liquid, I will do some more investigations with the Liquid in terms of syntax and what we can provide, and see how I can use that. Again, as a reminder, with ASP.NET Core 2.0, there will be a new feature called Razor Pages that you've seen at Orchard Harvest, and this will be also a good way to provide custom page with custom templates if you don't want to do it from the admin, or if you want more power. And from these templates, you will be able to use the queries. But that's it. Questions? Other questions, I mean?
When we're looking at releasing?
Never. Never. So the roadmap states that the next release is for blog-aware CMS. So we need queries. Well, at some point I had suggested that we don't ship with projections, but because it was doable in time, I tried, and now we have queries. So I think we have a good state of production with the Lucene queries right now.
What does the roadmap look like?
Next end of the month, we ship blogs. This is a rhetorical question because you know the answer. Roadmap.
It's good to bring it up though. So
yeah, I know. That's the goal. So then. So projection, I will pass it in fully or partially implemented, and media library. So I need to finalize now the media module. Taxonomy won't be ready for beta, and that's fine. We can live without it, unless someone wants to do it, because if you have time, you can work on it. We will help you. I will help you. Skype, all the things you want. There is already some design because we have the menu module which does exactly the same thing in terms of content and UI. We are going to ship a beta without taxonomies. We are going to ship a beta without many things, without all these things.
Haven't we already done output caching?
Yes, we have. There is a module, but there is no. Yes, there is a very simple module which caches everything by default for 1 minute.
So we should probably say that's okay.
That can be okay, but that's at the same time we take 2 hours and we have response cache settings. So, and I'm generous with 2 hours. So it's just about creating a settings page for the response cache, and at least we have a solution. It's not as good as the Orchard one, but we have the response cache integration.
Okay.
If you want to make the sites super fast, like too fast.
We don't want to make it too fast, because if we make it too fast, then the next iteration, we won't be able to speed it up anymore.
Well, too fast as a response cache, and any .NET application can be as fast as a response cache if they use the response cache.
Maybe we should put a thread sleep in there.
Maybe. But async. So we can do multiple, more. The one I'm going to...
Yeah, well, we talked about that.
Yeah, Nick wants to do workflow. He starts tomorrow. Yeah, the goal. So, what you mean, Bertrand? We need to, but they all have so much. They are, yeah. It's a beta, so we can't do everything.
Workflows has got a fantastic opportunity if we do everything via APIs as well. If you look at something like GetVero or something along those lines, where you put customer data in and it does a pipeline and then pumps something out.
In V1, we already have API management with hooks and everything. So webhooks, we have that already.
Well, that's what I mean. If we take workflows,
no, we can prioritize. Again, priority is about whoever defines their priority. For me, projection, media library, and taxonomy were more important than workflow. If someone thinks we need workflow first, anyone can work on that. And the workflow implementation should be the same as V1. We also need email if we want to provide 2FA or reset your password things. So there are many things we need. Localization, we need Lucas to finish the view. Just thinking about the view localization. Lucas is working on that, and it was not even in the beta.
I'm working on Google libraries at the moment, so I'm not really.
And Matteo pinged us this morning on Gitter saying that he wants to work on the localization for the content items, which is good. Yeah. No, if we look at workflow, it's really a feature like the API or the liquid. It's like something which is so flexible that provides lots of possibilities just by having this little module. You can do many things with that, like the queries module. It's not just drag and drop some buttons and you can do a few queries. No, it's very unlimited, I would say, in what you can do with it. So it's opening lots of scenarios with just these little modules. And I think that's the goal, to have a few modules that allow the most scenarios possible at first. Yep.
I wanted to ask. So we've got site settings. What's the difference between shell settings and site settings?
Shell settings, they are not dynamic. They are necessary for starting up the shell usually. You can have settings in shell settings that are not required to start up the shell, but usually these are the ones that are required to start the shell. Connection strings, or you can't change, or you don't want to change from the admin. Private keys, shell names, you see all these things.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, because I don't use site settings at the moment because I don't have
okay. Yeah.
Because I use shell settings.
I totally get it. If you don't require to be able to change them from the UI, then you don't require a site settings. You require a sentinel settings to refine the configuration file.
Exactly. However, how do I say this? if I was building a module and it required stuff that probably could be dynamic, but I'm always using the tenant.json file, how would you suggest writing the settings out within the setup.cs file? Maybe I should show you, and you can tell me. But ultimately, if I don't have site settings,
maybe something intermediate, and Sergio will agree, is maybe you want just setup time settings that will.
I don't have setup.
Okay, but maybe some people might want setup because they want to be able to, like, what we have in the settings.txt is defined the setup for us, right? For the CLS at least. So it's like a mix of the settings file / configuration file, or the setup screen is a one-time setup, or the settings UI. So it depends, I assume, on each module, each setting.
Each module has got each module pulls settings in from the tenants.json file.
In your case, but
yes, but I was thinking, if I'm building a module that does that, how would I make it work where it was more of a general purpose Orchard module rather than something that just runs off of, like if I took this module, for example, and I went and put it in my application just like I've currently done, but I don't have site settings, how would it work? Because it wouldn't, would it?
No, I don't understand.
I think I'll show you if you want after the meeting.
Okay, sure. Good.
Yeah.
So Sergio submitted a topic, so we'll respect that. Change tracking on yessql. So the issue is that in yessql, when you load a document and you change it, it won't be persisted automatically if you don't say, save this item. Okay. Even if you say save before doing the changes, at least enlist it to be saved when the session is disposed. So, and change tracking is about automatically detecting that a change has been done on a document when this document has been loaded from a database. So if you load the document from a database and you do some changes, you don't have to say, you need to save it to persist the changes. It will be detected automatically. This is a change tracking feature. And yessql doesn't have that. So when you load something and you want to save it, even if you don't change it, you just mark it, you just call save on the object. And an issue that we had, and Jean-Thierry had caught, is that I think it was Lucas, one of them, great guys. When we loaded the content item, we mark it for save, but then some handler executed a query. And when a query is executed, all the marked as saved content items will be flushed. And then the query was done. And then some more changes were done. But this item was not saved again later. So we had to call save again after the handlers, or we moved the save after the handlers. And this is to prevent some things like this, some issues like this, that change tracking is useful. So Sergio opened an issue saying we should support change tracking. My concern with change tracking is that it's hard and simple to implement, but it's a lot of some constraints for the developer, because you need to have your POCO, your C# class, to have all its properties that can change as virtual, so that when we return an instance of this object that you load from your database, we actually not instantiate your class, we instantiate a custom dynamic proxy class that will override all the virtual properties of your class by marking the object as dirty when it's changed. So it's worse for performance, it's worse for the design, and but it's doable. Most ORMs do that, and it's a known issue. Well, there are known solutions to that. It's just that I didn't think when I created a yessql that it was worth the pain and just not to call save sometimes. And it includes also performance issues. An hybrid solution will be to optionally implement that on objects. So if your object has virtual parameters or implement a specific interface, then maybe we could create a change tracker automatically, or not care about change tracking if it doesn't. I don't know, or by configuration. But right now, we have had the issue once. We found this, and maybe we don't really care. I have another option, which is when we mark something to be saved, even if it has already been saved, when we dispose, we check if there were some changes. And to check changes, we don't have to detect them. We can just serialize the objects, because we can track what was saved previously and what is the object right now. So we just serialize them and compare the serialization. If it has changed, then we can save it again. It could be also by an option. So that's the topic. Do we flush yessql session at the end of the request? Yes. We create one session per request, and well, we create the session one per request. The first time it's requested, it's required, because if your request has a new session, it won't create one. And then at the end of the session, when the request scope is disposed, then the session is disposed. And if it was not marked as cancel, then it will be committed. But you can flush it in the middle if you want, or if there are queries, it's auto flush, like an hibernate will do. Other questions? I see two people typing. As always, Sergio, it's always intense. Lots of content every time. Yep, we can talk about it. RESTM, I assume you are the user on Gitter who asked for more abstractions in the user management.
Yeah,
okay.
This is me.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep, next month, Rob, next month, you will have all the things you need. I'm sure Antoine will do some import tools. I'm sure he always has some import tools, by the way, because, yeah. Okay.
Should we be doing an export module from Orchard 1?
While there's an open issue, yes, we can for some things, not everything, but yeah, we maybe should have something like this at some point, not in the beta. If we want to import, if we ship a beta which is targeting the blog story, but you can do more than blogs, but at least blogs, then we should have an RSS import, because all the blogs export to RSS. We have that in Orchard 1. Next step for Orchard 1 to Orchard 2 is to create a custom tool that will read the specific things, like all the content items we can, the users and everything, and do the conversion. Yes, that could be a project, yes. Okay. At least to help. It won't convert everything, but maybe some sites like blogs could be exported very easily, and help for some other contents, for sure.
Yeah, like layouts and all that stuff won't be able to be converted over, I'd imagine.
No. You won't be able to, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, there's a Stack Overflow question. I will look at it and I will talk to RESTM, whatever your name is. RESTM, we'll call you RESTM.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. It's time. So next week, as usual, Thursday triage. Next Tuesday, no change. I will finalize the queries module, because I need to add a recipe step to create queries from the recipes, and liquid improvements, and probably go back to media to finalize media and have the blogs ready. If anyone wants to work on taxonomies, just ping me and I will set you up. or workflows. If you need workflows, that's fine too. Thanks everyone. See you on Thursday and Tuesday.